the minimum wage and a statement that was coming from reps that's with the head in the National Assembly. But I told you that we're going to revisit that story, talking about the governors who have come together and said that they cannot afford to pay the 60,000 or over 60,000 naira that the federal government has stated earlier, that they cannot afford to pay that. And the governors sit and Labour, they have stated that they cannot afford that because at this point the governors might not be able to meet up, and they have made reference to the fact that some governors have not been able to pay the previous minimum wage at this time. 5 years later, some governors have still not been able to pay that. So what is the guarantee that they will be able to pay this? And they are saying that it will take a toll on the finance of these states. And according to them, if the governors focus all of the monies coming in from the federal government on paying salaries, then what happens to infrastructural development in those states? What happens to other things that the governors are supposed to, that these monies are supposed to fund? And this is their fear. And now, in reaction to that, Nigerians have come out to say on X and other social media platforms that if as a governor you cannot pay that, please resign so we can have governors who can pay. Now, our guest here is a Nigerian, and I want to find out what he thinks. Do you believe that the governors cannot actually afford to pay this?
Says who? They can afford it. They've not tried. Given the fact that where there's a will, there will be a way out. Since the removal of subsidy, since you and I and other Nigerians started paying for that subsidy indirectly, in fact directly, these various level of government, they've had enough to share. If you look at it at every month when they go to that federal allocation, you discover that state A gets this, you hear that this state they've gotten this. And since then their allocation has increased. So if the allocation has increased, what are they using those shortfalls to do? So they should also use it to see how they can pay for workers' salary. Why I say workers, whether you like it or not, these are the engine room of government. They are the people that drives the government. These are the people who formulates policy. These are the people that without civil servant, there is no government anywhere. So they should also get what part of the booty from the subsidy remover. They should pay.
Do you think they haven't taken a look at their finance before they made this statement?
They should pay.
They have not taken a look at their finance?
They should think outside the box.
Okay, what do you mean by outside the box?
Well, I say they should think outside the box is that first and foremost, they should come back home, look at their wage bill, then also look at themselves, because first, changes begins from you. It begins from within. If as a governor, you look at the number of commissioners you have, all you need to do is to see how you reduce the number of commissioners. Your personal assistants, political aides, and all of them, you see how you also reduce the retinue of it, because whether you like it or not, they spend so much on this.
Isn't that looking like downsizing and taking people off their jobs?
The downsizing should start from them, because these are political appointees. These are political appointees, and they are the people that are even causing so much weight on governance.
Okay.
They are the political appointees. How can a governor, you have up to 200, 300, 400 advisors? What are they advising you? Even as a human being, if you have more than too many persons advising you, have traffic jam of thoughts. So,
okay.
So they should reduce
the advisors.
They should reduce what are they advising you when you already have a commissioner to that effect?
Yes. You know, that's another thing that needs to be looked into.
Like in Rivers State, to have a commissioner for environment, there's a special advisor for environment. That special advisor will also come with his own retinue of it. So you look at some of these things, you downsize. And that downsizing should start from them, not the people who formulate policies.
All right, so this paying workers should not in any way affect infrastructural development.
Yes, it shouldn't be compromised.
Okay, so let's look at other ways that governance could also be cut down on. Do you also, they stated, was it the Arewa youths now, who said, who first of all yesterday, they stated, it was reported yesterday that the Arewa youths have said that the governors will not be able to pay. And now the governors came and said we will not be able to pay also. And the Arewa youth has stated the fear that some of these staff now, some of these civil servants might get to lose their jobs if this minimum wage is agreed on.
Yes. whether you like it or not, truth will be told. And if you say the truth, it doesn't affect anything. Even within the civil service, there are people who are employed from week to week, month to month, they don't come to work.
Yes.
So all they just need to do, first and foremost, is to identify the real workers. Then weed some people that are not productive, so that way, everybody will sit up. I tell you, there are some people who are employed in the civil service. In a whole month, you can barely count how many times they come to work. Some people, they are employed, but a single table, they don't even have a table. And somebody who doesn't have a table, how do you have jobs given to that person?
Is it not funny how for them to apply for that table, they have to write to this person who has
No,
to
what I mean,
first of all approve,
there are some people, week in, week out, they don't have anything that they are doing. So you don't have a single task that you perform.
Okay, that's what you mean.
Just first and foremost, after they must have cut down their own cost of governance, they should also look inward. So that way, they will pay that minimum. They have to pay that wage. That current listen is something that will not take us anywhere.
But with all of these advisors and,
Okay,
people,
let's zero it down to this place now. The way this place is there any person that is indolent? You can't encourage indolency in the private sector like this. So if it cannot be encouraged in private sector, then why in government? Everybody will sit up. So it's a two-way thing.
All right, so that should be looked into.
But first, let the surgery start from them.
Cut off the advisors.
Cut off the advisors.
Well, questions like this would come out when we have all of these advisors, when we have people advising the government and all that. And yet, we still have state governors who have not been able to pay the previous minimum wage, even up till now, according to the reports that we have. Now, how do we balance it? All of these recommendations, does it mean these advisors have never suggested to these governors?
Also,
or these years, go on.
No, it's something that they will all look at. Once they will all look at it, they will sit down. Granted, there are some states that cannot, but they should also try their best. When they try their best, federal government can also give them some form of bailout, but they need to try first.
When they've not tried paying the previous one, what should be done now when state governments are not paying their staff?
There are some persons, some may have died, but their salaries are still being paid. So that's why I said you need to carry out that audit, personnel audit.
Completely.
Completely. There are some pensioners that may have passed on, their names have not been removed from the nominal roll. Okay. Those people are still being paid. So this whole thing, first, the surgery need to start from them. So that by the time they must have performed the surgery on themselves very well, they can now look.
They can now extend.
Yes, and come to that other one with equity, because first it started with
But what is the guarantee that the state governors will be willing to actually look within and then cut off what needs to be cut off at all of these recommendations? What is the guarantee that they will look within?
First, as a governor, when you are leaving office, do you want to be remembered as a governor who paid only salaries? Do you want to be remembered as a governor who ended up owing workers? At least everybody who wants to leave a footprint in the sand of time. And the only way you leave your footprint in the sand of time is when you have some signature and legacy projects. So that at the end of your tenure, generations that are coming, that whenever they remember or they see this project, they know that the project is tied down to you and you'll be remembered.
Your administration.
Yes.
All right, let's hope that the governors would look within and look at ways in which they can cut down governance like some Nigerians have recommended. Some people were seen to have said that some of the drinks that some of our politicians buy are more than the 60,000 naira that they are saying they cannot pay workers currently.